All right, so the Chargers just made a move that a lot of people around the league probably didn't even blink at. But if you've been watching this team closely, if you've paid attention to how they've drafted, how they've built this line, and what this new regime is trying to establish, this move matters. They declined the fifth-year option on Zion Johnson. What's up, Chargers fans? Welcome to the NFL Playbook Chargers. If you're new here, don't forget to hit that subscribe button. This channel is all about breaking down everything you need to know about the Bolts. And look, on paper, that might not sound like some kind of seismic event. Teams decline fifth-year options all the time. But here's the thing. This wasn't some throwaway day 3 flyer. This wasn't a borderline guy who's been in and out of the lineup. This was your 17th overall pick, your hand-picked can't-miss offensive line solution, a guy you thought would be a fixture on this front for the next decade. And now you're basically saying, we're not convinced you're even worth bringing back in 2026. That's not just a front office move, that's a verdict. And it says a hell of a lot more than just, we don't want to pay him $14 million. This says, we don't trust the trajectory. We're not buying what we've seen, and we're not going to pretend this pick is working out just to save face. And man, for a franchise that's really struggled to hit on first-rounders over the last 5-6 years, that's a big statement. Let's go back a bit. When the Chargers drafted Zion Johnson in 2022, they weren't just filling a hole, they were making a bet, a big one, that this guy was the next foundational piece of their offensive core. Rashawn Slater was already in the building. They wanted Zion Johnson to be the enforcer inside, that interior anchor. Smart, physical, reliable, a plug-and-play starter who could grow into a Pro Bowler. He had that resume: Boston College product, clean prospect, high floor, great technique, played multiple positions, every box was checked. And to be fair, his rookie year wasn't a disaster. He started every game. He fought. He wasn't the problem on that line. But you kept waiting for that next step, right? That moment where you're like, oh yeah, that's why we took him at 17. And it just never came. Year 2, same story. Yeah, he showed up every week. He was durable. He was steady. But was he good? Was he impactful? Was he moving bodies in the run game? Was he locking down a side and pass pro? Not consistently. And when you're a first-round guard, and that's the whole point, you weren't drafted to be solid, you were drafted to dominate. And let's be real, the teams that do spend high capital on guards, they expect real return. Look at Quentin Nelson, look at Zach Martin, even Chris Lindstrom. You spend a top 20 pick at that position, you better be getting a guy who tilts matchups. With Zion Johnson, that never materialized. And after 2 full seasons of tape, the Chargers are telling us loud and clear they don't see it happening. Now, I think this also speaks to the bigger shift happening inside the building. This is Jim Harbaugh's team now. Joe Hortiz is running personnel. These aren't Telesco's guys. They didn't draft Zion Johnson. They're not emotionally invested in trying to prove that pick right. And what you're seeing right now is a full culture reset. Harbaugh and Hortiz are evaluating this roster from scratch. They don't care what a guy was supposed to be. They care about what he is. And when they look at Zion Johnson, they see a guy who's 2 years in and still hasn't taken over, still hasn't popped, still hasn't made the jump from starter to difference maker. So they passed. That fifth-year option would have guaranteed him north of $14 million in 2026. And for them, that price tag didn't match the product. Now, you might say, well, what's the harm in keeping that option? It's only year 3. He's still developing. But that's not how elite franchises think. You look at the Ravens, where Hortiz came from, or the 49ers, where Harbaugh made his name. They move quick. They don't wait around hoping for guys to figure it out. They evaluate. They are self-correct, and they reload. That's what this is. It's a correction. They're saying, we didn't see the leap we needed, so we're not betting another year on it. Now, is this the end of Zion Johnson in Los Angeles? Not necessarily. He's still under contract for 2025. He's still in the building. He's going to get a shot to compete, to prove he belongs. And honestly, that might be the best thing for him, because now the pressure's on. It's a contract year. There's no more cushion, no more guarantees. This is it. He's got 17 games, maybe fewer, to show he deserves a second deal, whether that's in LA or somewhere else. And listen, I don't think the door is totally closed. There's still upside with Zion Johnson. He's a smart guy. He's athletic. He can move. There's still a chance that with a new offensive scheme and a much more physical identity under Harbaugh, he will find a better fit. But that leash, it's short now, and don't be surprised if they try him at different spots. They've already moved him from right guard to left. They've floated the idea of center reps in the past. Maybe that's back on the table. Maybe they think he's better suited inside where he can use leverage and IQ. But let's be honest, this move doesn't happen unless the tape told them what they needed to know. You don't decline the option on a starting offensive lineman, one you spent a premium pick on, unless the coaching staff and front office both agreed. He's not the guy we hoped, and that's tough, but it's honest. That's the new tone in the building now. Honesty, accountability, standards. The Chargers are done pretending certain picks are working out just to justify the past. Jerry Tillery? Gone. Kenneth Murray? Gone. Zion Johnson? On deck. It's a new era, and no one's protected. And that sends a message, not just to Zion Johnson, but to the entire locker room. If you're not playing up to the standard, you're replaceable. Doesn't matter if you were a top pick. Doesn't matter if you were their guy 2 years ago. Harbaugh's building is something different now. He's bringing in his own pieces, his own guys. And if you can't keep up, you're out. That's why they drafted Joe Alt at 5 in 2024. That's why they're looking at this offensive line and saying, we're going to maul people now. That's the Harbaugh vision. Big, violent, trench-dominant football. And if Zion Johnson can't be part of that, he won't be. So now, it's on him. He's got 1 year to prove he's not just another first-round misfire. 1 year to show he's not just a placeholder while the next wave comes in. 1 year to fight his way back into the future plans of this franchise, or any other one watching. Because you better believe, the rest of the league is paying attention. Offensive line play is hard to find. If Zion Johnson flashes, if he puts together a strong 2025, he'll get another shot. Maybe even a solid payday. But if he keeps giving up pressure, keeps struggling with stunts, keeps losing leverage in the run game, yeah, he's headed for the journeyman track. Just another guy who couldn't quite make the leap. So, this is it. This is the pivot point in his career. The next 5 months, they matter more than anything he's done so far. The Chargers are watching, the league is watching, and the clock's already ticking. So, what do you think, guys? Share your thoughts in the comments section.